So we're going to do a little update today. Today is November 27th, 2023, and this was one of the dates along with tomorrow, November 28th, that we were looking for a big war in Israel, that as soon as this war ended, that we would be changed, transformed into our immortal bodies. Now, this is all still possible, I suppose, for either tonight or tomorrow. But if we don't see a big, gigantic, going absolutely ballistic thing in Israel by tomorrow, then my thinking is we wait again until next year. But we can definitely see the day approaching. We can definitely see that there is some labor pains in terms of what's happening in Israel and actually what's happening in the whole world right now. And we can really see where different countries are taking sides. The world is becoming very polarized right now. And we can see how the events that are associated with the seals of Revelation 6, peace being taken from the earth, famine, pestilence, disease, wars, rumors of wars, all of these things, we can see this is totally ramping up, and we can definitely see the day approaching. And my thinking is that by the time the events transpire that are going to precede our rapture, that everybody's kind of going to know what's going on, that none of this is going to be a secret anymore. None of this is going to be able to be hidden, and it will be in plain sight for anybody that has eyes to see and ears to hear. So in the last video, I talked about the 4 dates that are really important, and those are the dates that are associated with the trumpets of Revelation, and as well as the date that's associated with the second coming of Christ. Now, Christ's return is going to be on the Day of Atonement. That's my understanding from what I read in Daniel chapter 9 and just what I understand of the feasts of the Lord. And Revelation basically is a temple story. It's about God's temples and the people who come into his temple, the people who serve and minister in his presence, and the feasts of the Lord are associated with the temple of God. It's a temple story. And so the return of Christ is most likely going to be on the Day of Atonement, whether it's in 2027 or in 2028. Now, one of the things that I talked about a few weeks ago, right around the time of the Feast of Tabernacles, was this idea of a delay. In Revelation chapter 10, Christ, the angel there, speaks of a delay, that there is a delay. And the delay is in the context of the transformation of both the dead and the living into their immortal bodies. Also, there is a sense of delay when the angel from the rising of the sun, who is Christ as well, tells those 4 trumpet angels who are going to harm the earth not to do anything until the servants of God have been sealed, that is the 144,000. So there is this delay that's sort of baked in. Now, we were sort of expecting that Christ would return in 2027, which means we have a 2023 rapture date, which technically is still possible, but I'm giving it a 50-50 right now in favor of next year. So if 2027 was the expected date, according to a lot of the research that's been done by me and by other people, and you add a delay to that, chances are we're looking at 2028. So things could go one of 2 directions in the next 24 hours or so. Either there is a fantastic, gigantic ramp up in the things that are happening in the Middle East, or it's all going to calm down until sometime next year. So that's kind of how I'm seeing things right now. So let's take a look at those 4 dates that sort of everything in Revelation boils down to the timing of these 4 dates. Okay, so the first one is the second coming of Christ right here on the Day of Atonement. And in this case, we're either looking to the Day of Atonement in 2027 or 2028. Now, a lot of people say, well, that's only, 4 years away. Why aren't you using 2030? It's because Revelation doesn't show 7 years between the time we're raptured, taken into heaven, the trumpets and the seals and all of that, and when Christ returns. It actually only shows 3.5 years, which is what's here in the purple, between the time of the abomination of desolation and Christ's second coming. This is a known period of time. It's 3.5 years, 42 months, 1,260 days. It's the last half of Daniel's 70th week, which according to Revelation chapter 12 and Daniel chapter 12 is a time times and half a time. This is a biblically supported period of time, okay, right here. So we're basically going from the abomination of desolation to the second coming of Christ, last half of Daniel's 70th week. It's also in Revelation, this is the sixth trumpet, second woe. Many, many events happen on this one day here. And this is a one day. It's an hour, day, month, and year that's already been predetermined by God. How much time is there between when we're raptured and this sixth trumpet here? It looks to me like trumpets 1 through 4 and the fifth trumpet are all going to be blown on the same day. Okay, and they're going to be blown after we're in heaven on the 8th day. So our rapture is at the end of an 8-day period of time. The male child has 8 days associated with him. Okay, so there's 8 days, and then there's the trumpets 1 through 5, and the fifth trumpet has 5 months associated with it. It's the first woe. The first woe is over. Then the second woe can start. That's the sixth trumpet. And then the seventh trumpet is over here. It's at the very end when the dead are raised, after the wrath of God has already come. It's time for God's servants to be rewarded and for destroying the destroyers of the earth. And this is most likely over the Feast of Tabernacles. So this pink part right here is actually 5 months plus a week. That's how long that is. So this whole period of time that Revelation is talking about is about 4 years total. Okay, if we include what happens before the 5 months here and the after Christ returns. Okay, so it's not 7 years. It's about 4. Seals 1 through 4 are also going to be opened on the day that we're raptured. The fifth seal will be before the abomination of desolation. Sixth seal will be over here sometime on a day we don't know. And remember that sixth seal has to do with the sun going dark and the moon turning to blood. And it's the sign before the great and terrible day of the Lord, which starts somewhere in here. We don't know where. That's the day and hour nobody knows, okay, is when it's over here. But we know that that day is going to be after the abomination of desolation, but before the visible and glorious return of Christ on the Day of Atonement, either in 2027 or 2028. Okay, so this is the timeline that Revelation shows us. These are the markers here. Trumpets 1 through 5, and they're all same day. Seals 1 through 4. Then we have 5 months. That's when, how long that the angels who come out of the bottomless pit can torture people. And then on the 6th trumpet, which is the day of the abomination, it's the day the beast begins his reign. There's 42 months. Sometime during that 42 months, there'll be a third rapture event. The 6th seal, the sun goes dark, the moon turns to blood. Armageddon, Christ returns, the wrath of God, the bowls, and all of that. I have videos where I show you how the seals is just a list, and they are on the timeline with, you don't have to have all the seals before you have the trumpets and before you have the bowls. The trumpets tell us basically where certain events are going to take place and how much time is between them. And then the second coming of Christ on the Day of Atonement. So those are the 4 basic dates that we need to know, because they actually give us the day counts for the bulk of the story of Revelation, for the real bad stuff. If we look over here at the travail, so Israel is at war right now. Okay, but here's the thing. Israel is not being overwhelmed by her enemies. Okay, the woman, according to Revelation 12, the woman is Israel. is going to be in travail, in agony to be delivered. Okay, even though things are really bad in Israel right now, she is not at the edge of her ability to cope. Okay, she still is coping. And if when you get to a place where you're about ready to deliver a baby, you are in agony. Okay, Israel isn't there yet. Okay, we're just not there. It would have been nice if that would have happened. It's still potentially possible, but my thinking is that we have a delay that's going to be at least a year. So this is just a little update for you, because I know people are kind of concerned, and a lot of people have been asking me, what about, are we going to be transformed? Are we going to be changed? Should I be feeling something? Is something going on? So this is something I've been saying like all along. Israel has to be in travail, and she has to be in agony. Okay, she has to be at the end, and that hasn't happened yet. Okay, and we're up against a deadline. Okay, the second coming of Christ here is what we're looking for, and we're doing all of our calculations from a Day of Atonement, second coming of Christ. Okay, this calculation right here is really easy. It's 1,260 days. The first woe has just ended, and now we've got the 5 months over here that the pit is opened and the angels there are tormenting people. And we have trumpets 1 through 5. They're all happening on the same day that we're raptured. Okay, I'm working it all backward. What I call sort of the upper limit for the fifth trumpet, if we have a second coming of Christ on the Day of Atonement in 2027, fifth trumpet would have to sound by December 5th. Which means that our change would have to be 8 days before that, which would be either today or tomorrow. And it has to be done in the context of a giant war in Israel. And I'm not seeing that right now. So, but I see it coming. Okay, Israel is in travail. And we know that there is a delay. There's a delay in here somewhere. And my thinking at this moment in time is that we have a delay of a year. So, but things could change overnight, it'd be nice if they do. On the other hand, here's my thinking, and there's I've always kind of been torn about this, is there's a part of me that goes, yeah, it would be really great to be raptured, to be changed and raptured, and, just to have that part of our life be done. And then there's this other part of me that is very concerned about two things. One is the state of the church, the state of Christians right now, the state of Christianity. It bothers me. It really it troubles me, because so much of the harlot has crept into Christianity. And I would encourage you to watch my video series on the letters to the 7 churches, because what I talk about in those videos is how harlot Christianity has crept into, even really, really good churches, okay, with people who really, really love Jesus, with pastors that love Jesus, okay, that this harlot mixture has found its way into Christianity, and it's so steeped in our religious traditions that it's really hard for us to even see that it's part of a system that's going to be purged from the church. It's going to be purged. And I think a lot of that purging kind of needs to be done by us right now, because when that next group of believers, the 144,000 of Israel, when they take the baton and finish the race for us, they can't be involved in a church that's a mixture. Okay? And I would really encourage people to read the book Pagan Christianity by Frank Viola and I think George Barna. It's a real eye-opener on the state of the church right now. And the level of maturity among Christians is pretty low. And it's kind of scary, actually. And so there is a part of me that's going, I don't know that believers are really ready. I don't think the rank and file Christian person is really ready for Christ to come for them. And so, I'd like to be able to have another year to really encourage people, to really help them to grow in their walk with the Lord. So that's kind of my burning desire, so that when the people who come after us have this 5 months right here, that they have to survive incredible difficulties, that they won't be sucked into some kind of compromised religious system, whether it's Judaism or whether it's Christianity, that they'll keep themselves undefiled, okay, that they will be spiritual virgins, that they won't have compromised with the harlot and her daughters, Jezebel, the women of Revelation. We're not talking about literal physical virgins. We're talking about people who are spiritual virgins. And it's hard to communicate to somebody else what it means to not be involved in the harlot Christian system when you've been steeped in it, when it's a part of your reality, your Christian experience. And this is where we really need to pray that God would open our eyes and our hearts and our understanding, that He would remove the blinders, that we'd be able to see, what's going on with the church, and that we would be able to follow Jesus, with the whole heart and in spirit and in truth. I just really want you to be encouraged and blessed. We're just going to keep marching on here. Okay, we're at the end. There is no doubt about that. Jesus is coming. There's no doubt about that. We're going to be raptured, at least some of us. I pray I'm one of them. I pray I persevere to the end. I pray you do too. That is written out in prophecy. God has already told us. He's already told us the situation that the world would be in when He comes. And we can definitely see it all around us. Even people who aren't Christians are talking about, biblical days and apocalyptic things. We're at the end here, and anybody who says we're not, it hasn't been paying attention. So I'm really wanting to encourage people, stay the course, run the race to the very end, persevere, no matter what. You've got to keep going. You can't stop now. We're too close to the end. So let me know what you think in the comment section, and we'll see you on another video. Till then, have a blessed day.